So, Big Joel made a Big Joel sized video about the new Avatar live action series, and it's pretty damn good. I watched the whole thing, and by watch the whole thing, I mean I half watched bits and pieces while doing chores around the house, which is the highest possible honor I can give to a 2.5 hour YouTube video. Anyway, despite that high praise, there's just one little criticism in the video that bugs me. Here it is.
Okay, so we're introduced to Zuko, Aang's Fire Nation nemesis who wants to track down and capture the Avatar, and I really just have one thing to say about him for now. I don't like the way they introduce his scar. How it looks like he has a normal face, but then, oh my god, half of it's burnt. So obviously this is just extremely cheesy and Two-Face coded, but I also think it's just in poor taste to make Zuko's physical disfigurement like a twist, a spectacle. If a cartoon for children can introduce Zuko as a normal person with a scar, I think the adult version of the show should probably do that too. I don't know, maybe that's ridiculous, but it is my emotion.
That's it. That's the whole clip. Just a tiny part of a giant video. And yet, this little criticism has been bugging me, haunting me for a long time. By a long time, I mean like half a week. There's two main claims happening here. One is that this is in some way exploiting disability in its depiction, and two, that the shot doesn't have much meaning outside of that initial shock value. And I don't agree with either take. I'm mostly interested in the latter, but I'll also refute the former real fast. So first off, is this scene making Zuko's disfigurement a spectacle? I don't really think so. It's definitely true for one person, but I don't think that's what's happening for the general audience. I can definitely see where he's coming from, and it's noble to mention it, but I think people interact with this kind of thing very differently in media than in real life. I've seen a lot of Avatar fans, and none of them have thought twice about Zuko's scar. This is, of course, very different than what people would experience in real life, because, let's face it, people are dicks, especially to people who look different, and I don't want to minimize that. But in the case of speculative fiction, it's a bit different. Remember Ready Player One? Of course you don't, because you have more important things to worry about. But the love interest in that movie has basically the same exact look. Same little marking around the eye, while otherwise looking like a model. Yet the movie seemed to want us to think that she was ugly. It was baffling. The unanimous response was, "What are you talking about? This woman is a total hottie, a one-hit knockout, a bodacious babe." And this same shit is happening with Zuko. I don't think the shot is made to other him in any meaningful way. There's lots of horribly insensitive horror movies that try to make all kinds of atypical faces off-putting to the audience, but Zuko has probably the most photogenic burn possible. He looks like a hot guy with a birthmark. I feel like I could very reasonably see him in a fashion advertisement or something. So what is the actual meaning behind this scene then? Or at least what are some other possible interpretations that we can make about it? Well, to get into that, I want to compare it to a very similar character introduction in something completely different. Furiosa's entrance in Mad Max Fury Road. At the start of Fury Road, Max is subject to the violence of the War Boys, the militaristic arm of the post-apocalypse. He's beaten down, bound, and branded. Similar to Avatar, this mark is heavily associated with state violence. And soon later, we see this brand on another character, a close-up on the back of the neck. But as the camera pulls out, we can see that this victim is also a respected leader of the same force that burned her. We can't really read this as surprising the audience with her burn, because it's the first thing we know about her, and the other stuff is the reveal. But this reveal is something that brings value to the shot's visuals. Formally, it's doing the exact opposite of what Avatar is doing, but its purpose is the same. A transition between two seemingly opposite subject positions within the same character to reveal the contradictions of state violence. And while there is a difference in order in Avatar, it's not a surprise to make you think that Zuko is gross or something. Mad Max is showing victimhood and leadership in that order because Furiosa is a protagonist. Zuko is shown as a leader and a victim in that order because Zuko is primarily an antagonist. The order is there to bring about a first impression and to bring complexity into the second impression. It shows that Zuko is not just part of the Fire Nation's militaristic power structure, but also a victim of that same power structure. The Fire Nation is not one unified front, and its hegemony must be maintained through continuous reinforcement. But even taking this into consideration, Zuko is a soldier first. At this point of the story, he will continue to act as a Fire Nation villain, and this moment provides some depth into that position and what it would mean within the larger politics. And the visuals support this reading. The shot gives primary significance to the perception image of a commander in a privileged position, but transitions into an affective image when the scar is revealed. Again, it's doing a very similar thing to Furiosa, but in the opposite direction. So that's my take, and I think it's an interesting one to compare to Henry's. The analysis within Big Joel's broader analytical work is, for lack of a better word, very literary. In this video, and across the channel in general, there's a much bigger focus on stuff like plot, characters, and theme, and a lot less focus on the visual aspect of the medium. I can't recall another time where we're thinking about what the camera is doing. It's not really a piece of the medium that seems to be of interest to him. And don't get me wrong, that's not a criticism. It's just an interesting difference in methodology. Like, it has the energy of an English major analyzing a film after talking about nothing but books for years. It's very good work, but like all analysis, it's incomplete. Thinking about myself, for example, I never analyze the music in any of the media I watch or play. I like talking about movies, I like talking about video games, but I don't know anything about music, and if I ever try to analyze that aspect of the medium, it's going to be completely lacking. I don't think that's bad, but again, it's incomplete. Anyway, that's my one little criticism. The rest of Big Joel's video is great. The Netflix Avatar show is bad, it's a complete disgrace to the original, and I can't believe they removed Jake Sully. Okay, that's it, bye.